Have you ever noticed how some classic pickup trucks still have a presence that no modern model can match? It doesn't matter how many sensors, touchscreens, or driving assistants the new ones offer. Some things just can't be replaced by technology. And let's be real. Why do so many people, even those who already have a new truck in their garage, still dream about that old pickup their dad or grandpa used to drive? Why are those old rigs still being restored, admired, and treated like legends? Today, you'll understand why. We're about to take a ride through 10 classic pickups that defined entire generations. These machines carried more than just tools and cargo. They carried memories, sweat, and a bond with the driver that's been lost in today's tech-driven world. Each one of them is a living reminder of a time when trucks were tough, simple, and loyal. And even today, they put many new models to shame with their durability, style, or the kind of engine power you could feel in your chest. Ready to hear those engines roar again just by hearing their names? Stick around, because the last truck on this list became such a symbol of freedom that collectors today are willing to pay the price of a luxury car just to keep one in their garage. Ford F1. The Ford F1 was the starting point of one of the most legendary lineages in American automotive history. Launched in 1948, it was the very first model of the Ford F-Series, designed for a country that just after World War II needed tough, reliable vehicles for both rural and urban life. Before the F1, most Ford pickups were just modified passenger cars with a bed attached, but the F1 changed that for good. It was built on a chassis designed exclusively for pickup use, stronger, tougher, and made to handle daily abuse without a problem. That concept worked so well that the F-Series is still going strong more than 70 years later. Under the hood, the F1 offered two engine options. The most iconic was the flathead V8 with 239 cubic inches, or 3.9 liters, delivering around 100 horsepower and 26 kilograms of torque. It was a simple and reliable engine, easy to maintain and hard to break. The other option was a 226 cubic inch inline-six, or 3.7 liters, making about 95 horsepower. Power went to the rear wheels through a 3-speed manual transmission. Gear changes were direct and mechanical, just like most trucks of the time. The suspension used leaf springs in both front and rear, built for strength, not comfort. Visually, the F1 had a rounded design with prominent fenders and a wide horizontal bar grille. The headlights were spaced far apart, and the cab had a no-nonsense look. Inside, it was all steel and function. A big metal dash, center speedometer, wide steering wheel, and a bench seat for 3. It was basic, but it got the job done. This truck quickly became a favorite for farmers, small business owners, and working-class families. You'd see it hauling tools, sacks of grain, or even taking kids to school. It was the kind of truck you could trust every day. Over time, the F1 became a collector's dream. A fully restored, all-original example can now sell for over $100,000 at auction, and custom builds are just as prized. While today's trucks come packed with screens, sensors, and driving aids, the F1 was built around one idea: function first. It demands more from the driver, but it gives back a sense of connection and control that modern pickups rarely offer. You feel every gear, every vibration, every turn of the wheel. The Ford F1 wasn't just the beginning of a best-selling series. It was a symbol of a generation that needed machines that were honest, durable, and ready for anything. And if the F1 built its legacy on strength and reliability, the next truck on this list earned its place through bold style and unforgettable character. Chevrolet 3100 Advanced Design. The Chevrolet 3100 from the Advanced Design series helped shape the American landscape after World War II. First introduced in 1947, it was Chevy's first major redesign after the war, and it quickly became a symbol of confidence, progress, and American craftsmanship. It stayed in production until 1955 and was the best-selling truck in the United States for almost a decade. Unlike many pickups of the time, the 3100 wasn't just a tool. It brought smoother curves, a more spacious cab, and a look that turned heads both on farms and in cities. Chevrolet had nailed the balance between design and durability, and buyers took notice. Under the hood, the 3100 came with the famous Thriftmaster inline-six engine. The early version had 216 cubic inches, or 3.5 liters. making around 92 horsepower and 23 kilograms of torque. Later models bumped that up to 235 cubic inches, 3.9 liters, with 105 horsepower. For its era, that was plenty of power for everyday work. It had a 3-speed manual transmission and rear-wheel drive. Shifting gears took some muscle and timing. The suspension used semi-elliptical leaf springs with solid axles, front and back. It was simple, proven, and tough. There was no power steering, so turning required effort, but that gave drivers a raw, direct connection to the road. Visually, the 3100 stood out. The rounded hood, integrated headlights, shark-tooth grille, and bold fenders gave it a muscular yet elegant look. The cab was wider than before, with better visibility and enough space to seat 3 adults on the bench. The finish was simple, but had an industrial charm that still captivates collectors today. The 3100 was everywhere, on farms, at construction sites, parked in front of mom-and-pop shops, and used as daily drivers. It was affordable, dependable, and easy to keep running. Oil, gas, and a driver who knew how to listen to the engine were all it needed. As time passed, the Advanced Design series became one of the most restored and customized classic trucks in America. You'll find them at shows either completely stock or modified with modern engines, but always keeping that timeless exterior. Chevy's modern trucks, like the Silverado, still echo the design of the Advanced Design series. That alone says a lot about the legacy of the 3100. Back when trucks were truly work partners, the 3100 proved that toughness and beauty could go hand in hand. And that's why even today, this classic still holds a place that modern models can't quite replace. If this one was all about style and innovation, the next truck on the list is pure muscle. Built to go where most wouldn't even dare. Dodge Power Wagon. The Dodge Power Wagon wasn't just a truck. It was the civilian version of a battlefield brute. Introduced in 1946, right after the end of World War II, it was directly based on the military Dodge WC trucks that had served in combat. When it entered the civilian market, it brought with it the toughness, simplicity, and go-anywhere ability that war had demanded. The Power Wagon was one of the first 4-wheel drive pickups available to the general public in the United States. It was built for heavy-duty use, especially in remote areas, farms, mountains, and places where roads barely existed. That rugged spirit made it a legend. Its engine was a 230 cubic inch inline-six, or 3.8 liters, producing around 94 horsepower and about 27 kilograms of torque. That might not sound like much today, but it was reliable torque delivered low and steady, perfect for crawling through rough terrain. It had a 4-speed manual transmission with a 2-speed transfer case for real 4x4 capability. Suspension was leaf springs all around, and the axles were reinforced to survive harsh conditions. Whether it was mud, rocks, snow, or shallow rivers, this truck was built to keep going. The Power Wagon looked every bit as tough as it was. Flat lines, tall ride height, big steel fenders, round headlights on metal mounts, and rugged steel wheels with large tires. The bed was basic but strong. Inside, things were bare bones. The dashboard showed only what was needed, and the bench seat was stiff. Comfort wasn't the point. Durability was. This truck found its way into farms, sawmills, utility companies, search and rescue teams, and more. For decades, it was used in places where most other vehicles couldn't go and didn't even try. Today, the Dodge Power Wagon is a crown jewel among classic truck collectors. Original or properly restored models are rare and highly valued. Modern versions under the Ram name still carry the Power Wagon badge, but the original soul is hard to match. What Dodge created wasn't just a work truck. It was a symbol of strength and resilience. A machine that didn't just drive, it conquered. And if this one impressed you with brute force, wait until you see the next pickup. It was a pioneer that changed what trucks could be. International Harvester Travallet. The International Harvester Travallet was a truck that challenged the norms of its time. While most pickups were still sold with single cabs and strictly for work, the Travallet was one of the first factory-built crew cab trucks in America. Introduced in 1957, it arrived at a time when the idea of using a pickup to carry more than just tools and cargo was almost unheard of. The name Travallet might not be as iconic as Ford or Chevrolet, but its impact on truck history is undeniable. International Harvester saw an opportunity before anyone else. They understood that some people needed a truck that could haul gear and a full crew comfortably, and that's exactly what the Travallet delivered. The most popular version came with a 304 cubic inch V8 engine, about 5.0 liters. It produced roughly 193 horsepower and over 41 kilograms of torque. This was more than enough for towing trailers, climbing steep hills with a full load, and eating up long highway miles without hesitation. It could be ordered with either a manual or automatic transmission, depending on the year and configuration. Most had rear-wheel drive, but four-wheel drive versions were also available. The suspension used reinforced leaf springs and heavy-duty shocks, perfect for carrying passengers and cargo without compromising strength. Design-wise, the Travallet was all function. Straight lines, a bold metal grille, four-door cab, and a strong road presence. Inside, it offered room for 6 people, with front and rear bench seats, a clean instrument panel, and durable materials that could stand up to everyday use. It was used by electric companies, large farms, firefighting departments, and any operation that needed to move teams and equipment at the same time. It wasn't flashy, but it was practical and ahead of its time. Today, the Travallet is a rare gem in the world of vintage pickups. Its value isn't just in horsepower or looks. It's in the fact that it pioneered a category of truck that only became mainstream decades later. Most people think crew cabs are a modern idea, but the Travallet did it long before it was cool. If the Ford F1 was the beginning of the modern truck era, the Travallet was the first to prove that pickups could be versatile people haulers too. No improvisation, just smart engineering. And if you thought that was impressive, the next truck defined the style of an entire generation. Chevrolet C10. The Chevrolet C10 is for many the ultimate classic pickup. Launched in 1960, it was the first in the new CK series and marked a big shift in how Chevy built trucks. The C10 was lower, smoother, and more comfortable, taking big steps toward the kind of drivability you'd expect from a car, without giving up the toughness of a work truck. The C stood for two-wheel drive, while the K versions were four-wheel drive. The C10 was designed to do it all, whether in the city or on the farm, and from day one, it was a hit. One of the most popular engine options in the first generation was the 250 cubic inch inline 6, or 4.1 liters, producing around 155 horsepower and 32 kilograms of torque. It also came with V8 options, like the 283 small block, with 4.6 liters and up to 195 horsepower. But the real innovation was the front suspension. Instead of a solid axle and leaf springs, the C10 featured an independent front suspension with coil springs. That meant smoother rides, better handling, and a big leap in comfort. The rear still used leaf springs and a solid axle for strength under heavy loads. The design of the C10 was instantly recognizable. Straight lines, a wide hood, split front grille, dual headlights, and a clean bed design made it look solid and refined. Inside, things had evolved. The dashboard was more modern, seats were more comfortable, and features like interior ventilation and better sound insulation became standard. The C10 became a favorite for just about everyone. It worked on farms, ran errands in town, carried tools, and looked just as good parked at a family home. It was affordable, reliable, and easy to fix. Over time, the C10 became a cultural icon. It's now one of the most restored and customized trucks in America. You'll see them lowered, with big wheels and built-up engines, or fully original with steel wheels and retro paint jobs. Either way, they turn heads. The C10 didn't just evolve with the times, it helped shape what a truck could be. Tough on the outside, soft on the inside, a combination that's still hard to beat. Now, if you're enjoying this trip down memory lane, go ahead and hit that like button. It helps YouTube know this content is worth sharing, and it gets it in front of other classic truck lovers. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video featuring the most iconic machines in truck history. Keep going with us, because if the C10 combined comfort and style, the next pickup brought modern upgrades to a classic name and became a favorite all across the country. Ford F100. To many people, the Ford F100 represents the golden age of American pickups. First introduced in 1953 as the direct successor to the F1, the F100 arrived with a more modern design, stronger construction, and a ride that felt a step ahead of anything that came before it. It was with the F-100 that Ford really cemented the F-Series as a truck family built to last. It brought cleaner styling, mechanical upgrades, and a more refined driving experience, but it was still a real work truck, through and through. The most common engine was the Y-block V8, with 239 cubic inches, or 3.9 liters, producing around 130 horsepower and over 28 kilograms of torque. There was also a 223 cubic inch inline-six option, making about 115 horsepower. The engines were reliable, easy to service, and known for running forever with basic maintenance. Transmissions included 3 or 4-speed manuals, and later models offered automatic gearboxes. Rear-wheel drive was the standard setup, and the suspension featured solid axles with leaf springs, giving it the strength to haul loads and handle rough roads without complaint. The styling of the F-100 was more squared off and clean. A flatter hood, integrated fenders, round headlights with chrome trim, and a bold front grille gave it presence wherever it went. The cabin was roomier, and the interior had begun to move toward comfort. The dashboard had better instrumentation, seats were more supportive, and the overall driving position was improved. You'd see the F-100 everywhere, on farms, job sites, small towns, and even suburban streets. It was the go-to choice for people who needed reliability with a touch of modern convenience. Over the years, the F-100 became a cultural icon. It showed up in movies, TV shows, and advertisements. Today, collectors restore them with modern suspensions, new engines, and airbag systems. But even when modified, they still keep that unmistakable soul. What made the F-100 special was balance. It was strong without being rough, stylish without being flashy, and dependable without being complicated. Even with all the tech in trucks today, many people would trade it all just to have an F-100 back in their driveway. Stick around, because if the F-100 was about balance and refinement, the next truck brought an aggressive attitude and off-road grit. Jeep Gladiator J Series. When Kaiser Jeep introduced the Gladiator line in 1962, the mission was clear: bring the brand's off-road legacy into the pickup world. And it didn't take long for the Gladiator to prove it belonged. The J Series versions, designated for the half-ton and three-quarter-ton models, combined ruggedness, off-road power, and a frame that felt more like a military rig than a regular work truck. The J Series was a true 4x4 truck made for tough jobs. Its chassis was based on the Wagoneer platform, but reinforced to handle heavy loads, towing, and demanding terrain. It came in various wheelbase lengths and trim options, and was one of the first American pickups to offer four-wheel drive as a factory feature on many models. One of its standout engines was the AMC 360 V8 with 360 cubic inches, or 5.9 liters. Producing around 195 horsepower and 40 kilogram-meters of torque. There were also versions with inline-six engines, depending on the model year. This range of powertrains made the J Series adaptable for all kinds of work, from farming to commercial use. Transmission options included 4-speed manuals and automatic gearboxes. The four-wheel drive system used a tough transfer case with low-range gears. Suspension was built around solid axles and leaf springs front and rear, giving it maximum durability for off-road use. The look of the J Series was bold and functional. Flat body lines, wide fenders, vertical front grille with dual headlights, and a tall cab made it stand out in any setting. Some models even wore the iconic Jeep logo proudly on the sides, reminding everyone of its tough DNA. It became popular with farmers, contractors, utility companies, and even military operations in certain adaptations. Wherever traction and toughness were needed, the J Series showed up ready. The original Gladiator line ended in the late 1980s, but its legacy was so strong that Jeep revived the Gladiator name in 2019. Still, for purists, nothing compares to the raw charm and simplicity of the classic J Series. If the Gladiator was made to conquer the wilderness, the next truck brought luxury and muscle into the heavy-duty world. GMC Sierra Grande 2500. The GMC Sierra Grande 2500 proved that power and comfort didn't have to be opposites. During the 1970s, GMC leaned into the idea that pickup drivers deserved refinement too, and the Sierra Grande trim was the top-tier version of that belief. This 2500 model, classified as a 3/4-ton truck, shared its platform with the Chevrolet C-Series, but added more upscale features and attention to detail. It was built for people who needed serious performance but didn't want to feel like they were riding in a workhorse. The heart of the truck was the legendary 454 big block V8. With 454 cubic inches, or 7.4 liters, it delivered around 240 horsepower and over 50 kilograms of torque. It was a monster, ideal for hauling livestock trailers, heavy machinery, or climbing mountain highways with a full load. Buyers could choose between a manual or a 3-speed automatic transmission. Rear-wheel drive was standard, with 4-wheel drive versions available. The suspension used leaf springs in the rear, and, in some models, coil springs up front for better ride quality without sacrificing strength. Design-wise, the Sierra Grande embraced the bold, square style of the era. Flat hood, chrome bumpers, dual headlights, and upscale trim gave it a clean but commanding look. Inside, things felt much more premium. Velour seats, simulated wood grain trim, full dashboards, and available air conditioning made it feel closer to a luxury car than a work truck. It was a favorite among ranchers, contractors, and rural property owners who spent long hours behind the wheel. This was a truck that could haul a full load all day and still keep you comfortable on the drive home. Today, the Sierra Grande 2500 is seen as a pioneer of the luxury truck segment. It paved the way for modern pickups that focus on high-end features without losing their muscle. Well-preserved or restored examples are rare and highly valued by collectors who appreciate both power and style. And if that truck showed us that work and luxury could coexist, the next one is pure Americana. A truck with the soul of a muscle car and a look that turns heads to this day. Dodge D100. The Dodge D100 was Dodge's direct answer to the rising success of Ford's F-Series and Chevy's C-Series. First introduced in 1961 as part of the all-new D-line, it came in swinging with bold design, strong performance, and a clear mission to win the half-ton market. This marked the beginning of a new era for Dodge pickups. Gone were the rounded curves of the 1950s. In came the aggressive, squared-off look that made the D100 stand out in any lineup. It had real presence, a no-nonsense work truck with just the right amount of flair. One of the most popular engine options was the LA 318 V8, with 318 cubic inches, or 5.2 liters. It made around 230 horsepower and 43 kilograms of torque. Inline 6/6 versions were also available for those wanting a simpler, more economical option with solid reliability. Transmissions included 3- or 4-speed manuals and later on, automatics. Rear-wheel drive was standard, but 4-wheel drive variants were offered on special editions. Suspension was built with heavy-duty leaf springs and strong shock absorbers, giving the D100 a sturdy, dependable ride under load. The design featured a high front end, straight body lines, dual headlights, and a bold steel bumper. The bed was wide and practical. Inside, the bench seat could fit 3 across, and the dashboard was all business, with simple analog gauges and straightforward controls. The D100 quickly won over farmers, tradesmen, and small businesses. It was dependable, easy to maintain, and tough enough for serious work. Parts were affordable, and repairs were simple, making it a perfect daily truck for anyone who needed reliability over flash. Over the years, the D100 became a working-class classic. You can find them still running decades later, on country roads, small farms, and in driveways across the country. It even left a legacy in other parts of the world, like Brazil and Mexico, where versions inspired by the D100 gained their own loyal followings. What the D100 brought to the table was character. A strong identity, a sense that this was a truck made by and for people who actually worked with their hands. And even now, that spirit continues to resonate with classic truck fans everywhere. If the D100 represented raw American work ethic, the final truck on this list is a full-on icon. A truck built for adventure that still symbolizes freedom on 4 wheels. Ford Bronco pickup. When people talk about freedom, off-road adventure, and the American spirit, the Ford Bronco is one of the first names that comes to mind. But what many forget is that during the 1960s and 1970s, Ford also offered a pickup version of the Bronco, a short-bed, four-wheel drive truck built to tackle trails, mud, sand, and just about anything the road couldn't reach. Originally launched in 1966, the Bronco was designed to compete with the Jeep CJ, but unlike the small Jeeps, the Bronco had a more versatile design. The open-bed version, often called the Bronco Roadster pickup, combined bold looks with serious off-road capability and surprising utility for its compact size. These pickup Broncos came with several engine options, but the standout was the 302 cubic inch V8, or 4.9 liters, which made about 205 horsepower and over 40 kilograms of torque. Inline-six versions were also available, offering a lighter and more fuel-efficient setup for those who didn't need as much grunt. Transmissions included 3- or 4-speed manuals, with later models offering automatics. The four-wheel drive system was robust and easy to engage, with a transfer case and differential lock that made it perfect for rocky paths, river crossings, and steep climbs. Suspension used solid axles front and rear, with leaf springs and reinforced shocks for maximum durability. Visually, the Bronco pickup was unique. Short and tall with a wide stance and flat body panels, it had a military-grade look mixed with sporty vibes. Round headlights, a clean front grille, and the removable top gave it a sense of fun and freedom that few trucks could match. The bed was small but functional, perfect for gear, tools, or camping supplies. Inside, it was all about simplicity. A metal dash with analog gauges, a tough steering wheel, and weather-resistant materials made it ready for adventure. The interior didn't pamper you, but it never let you down. The Bronco pickup was popular with hunters, trail guides, forest service crews, and outdoor enthusiasts. It was built for life beyond the pavement and thrived in the wild. Though it wasn't produced in huge numbers, it gained legendary status among collectors and 4x4 fans. Today, a fully restored Bronco pickup is a rare sight and a highly sought-after prize. Its value has skyrocketed, especially after Ford revived the Bronco name in 2021. Still, for many, nothing beats the feeling of driving an original Bronco pickup, with wind in your face, dust on the windshield, and that deep V8 growl bouncing off the canyon walls. It closes out this list as a true symbol of independence, personality, and American toughness. A truck built not just to drive, but to explore what comes after the end of the road. After this trip down memory lane, it's easy to see why these pickups are still alive in the hearts of so many. They weren't just vehicles. They were work partners, road companions, and pieces of American history on four wheels. Each one defined a generation. Some put V8 power in the hands of rural workers. Others brought comfort to those who spent long hours behind the wheel. And all of them carried something modern trucks are still trying to catch up to: authenticity. Sure, today's pickups are faster, smarter, and more connected. But in trying to do everything, they sometimes forget what made the old ones special. The soul, the bond between man and machine, the simplicity that just worked, and a charm you can't program into a screen. Now tell me in the comments, which one of these pickups marked your life? Which one did you drive, ride in, or always dream of owning? And which one would you still love to have sitting in your garage today? If you enjoy content like this, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell. Every week, we bring new stories about the most iconic machines in automotive history, from dusty farm roads to the heart of the city. See you in the next video.